video that's What's up? What do you think about that, Cole? That's pretty cool.
Wow, that is amazing. Now I feel like we're on a legit podcast.
Dude, I was just on my buddy's podcast yesterday, and he used StreamYard and he had a video. So I text Shaylee this morning. I'm like, I want a video. That was awesome.
Yeah.
He had like an outro video, which we don't yet, but we'll get there. But that felt like we were actually doing something real.
My wife asked me last night, she said, so how many people actually listen to The Faithful Agent? And I said, a lot. But now I can actually say, look at us.
That's awesome. Now, here's what I wonder. So, audience, if you're listening to this on the podcast, what Cole and I didn't know 2 weeks ago, I guess, when they heard the podcast, but when we used StreamYard, I was playing like sounds, like applauding for Cole, whatever. We didn't realize they wouldn't pick up in the podcast audio. So that's fantastic. And, so if I make sounds and we react to it, just assume that, whatever, that they're funny. I don't know. That doesn't make sense, does it? Nope. Was that funny, Cole? No, that was not good.
Speaking of funny, we got dad jokes to begin this, don't we, Garrett?
We do have dad jokes. Thank you, buddy. All right, so let's do this. We've got an amazing guest. I realize now, Cole, that I'm not doing like the welcome to the Faithful Agent podcast. We're so glad that you're here. We've got an incredible episode for you once again today with our buddy Ben Deal. Ben and I met just recently through EXP. Excited to have him here and share his heart with us. But before we do, Mr. Orderway, there's a wrong way and there's an order way. What do you got for me, buddy? What's the dad joke for the day?
All right. What kind of car did the apostles drive?
I know, so we'll see if Ben knows.
A Honda, because the Bible says they were all in one accord. I gotta laugh at Ben.
That's not cool. Okay, all right, dude. Now, man, I need to be using some throwback good ones then, so I can make Ben laugh too. But let's try this.
I wondered if you had used that before. I didn't think you had.
I have. I mean, it's been probably a year ago.
Sweet.
Right? But yeah, so you're good. It's still funny. Okay, here we go. God is talking to one of his angels, and he says, do you know what I've just done? I have just created a 24-hour period of alternating light and darkness on earth. Isn't that good? The angel says, yes, but what will you do now? And God says, I think I'll call it a day.
Oh,
come on, Ben, dude, you gotta give me
one. That's a good one. I'll take it.
That's pretty funny. That's sort of funny. All right, well,
better.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone who's here is like, let's get to the good stuff. All right, let's do that. Let me introduce our guest. Ben Deal is a Christ follower, husband, father of 3 daughters, and almost his first son, who's almost here. He's a Houston-based real estate agent with over 10 years of experience, began his career as a wholesaler and acquisition specialist, meeting with thousands of homeowners, helping purchase hundreds of properties before becoming a licensed realtor in 2020. Today, he's a top-performing agent and leads the investor agent Wolfpack at eXp Realty, where he mentors agents through the investor agent game plan, teaching them how to work with real estate investors to do more deals and generate consistent listing leads. That's what we're talking about today. But most importantly, your mission is to honor Christ by serving people with integrity, excellence, and purpose. That's how you and I connected, buddy. Ben, I'm so glad that you're here, brother. Genuinely, thank you for coming on. Man, I'm just going to dive in. And I think let's start with, as we talk about how real estate agents can partner with real estate investors to generate more deals and more listings. I think the biggest myth is that most agents think investors are taking deals away from them. So why do you think agents are viewing investors as competition as opposed to potential partners?
That's a great question, man. And I'm super fired up to be here. So appreciate what you guys are doing and putting the Lord and, putting Christ first and into the real estate space. So I'm excited for the conversation we're going to have. I think the for whatever reason, there's always been a separation between real estate agents and investors. There's always been, hey, there's this lane over here, and then there's the agent lane over here. and there's not been like a real intersection. What we're seeing now is the unification of the agent and the investor to become what we're calling an investor agent. And kind of what that looks like is there's investors that get their real estate license as a tool, and then there's agents that are working with investors, and that's kind of like what we call the investor agent. And in terms of like competition, when I was getting started, the real estate investor world, there wasn't a lot of agents that were dabbling in that world, because there was a big myth out there that, hey, if you're a real estate investor, you cannot get your real estate license. Have you guys heard that? Like, that was rolling around for a long time.
Yeah.
The investment community. And what I know, looking back after 10 years, operating the way that I operate, with integrity, a heart to serve, loving on people, getting my real estate license did not change how I did my business now, or as I was doing my business as real estate investors, real estate wholesaler and acquisition specialist. So I think a lot of it is just people don't know what they don't know. And there's just been a lot of these myths that have been floating around.
Yeah, that's true. It is interesting because, we're in this weird market right now. I think everybody is in this strange market, right? And there is the median age of a buyer last year was 60, right? Which means half of the buyers were 60 or older, which is crazy. And they have more hair than Cole. But you're seeing that was good. Leave that in there, Shaylee. Don't edit that out. So you're seeing more and more people, obviously, with cash, right? But I think the average agent looks at, well, I've got this, let's call it a first-time home buyer who's buying a $300,000 house. They're scraping together the down payment, and then this investor swoops in and is doing the BRRRR method or just buying it in cash, right? Like, how do we compete with that? And so I do think it is true that there is actual competition that is happening. Of course there is, just like there's buyer to buyer competition, seller to seller competition. There is like buyer to investor competition, but you're looking at it as a means to see growth in the agent's business, right? Like, how do agents shift from this is my competitor to maybe this is a partner, right? In some way, how do we like start bridging the gap, Ben? I know you've done that super well. So like, how do agents start shifting their mindset towards investors, and why would that be a good route for them to take?
Oh man. So I believe every real estate agent should be working with real estate investors in some way, shape, or form. I believe that. And I believe, more importantly, the foundation of real estate agents' business should be working with investors. And there's a number of reasons why you want to work with an investor. Okay. Just as you mentioned, we're in a very funky market, but guess who is buying all the time and buying as many properties as they want? They don't care that we're leaving summer going into the fall. They don't care what's happening geopolitically. They don't care what's happening, in things that are beyond our control, but investors are always buying, and they're always buying as much as you want. And the great thing with investors is, in working with an investor, you also create leverage, because in the traditional real estate game that a lot of the real estate agents participate in is a transactional retail environment, right? So it's like, hey, look, we're going to go serve the families that are looking to buy or sell the home once every 5 to 7 years, right? That's the typical turn. It's like, so you got to cast a very big net. You've got to have a lot of people in your network, so you're catching to build enough consistency in your business where you can string together those retail deals. And you're catching those people. And so the thing that I know based on my experience is, like, there are investors in everyone's market that they can go partner with, that they don't have a good experienced agent that can help serve them in their entire business. And I just know that you can work with one investor that may just be adding one rental property to their portfolio every year. Not that they're any more or less important, but I believe they're 5 times as valuable as working with our homeowner that's only buying one property every 5 to 7 years. Because I'm going to do at least 5 deals with that one investor if he or she's going to be buying one property every 5 years, or once a year. But the reality is, a lot of the investors that you want to target and work with are the ones that are doing 3, 4, 5, 10 deals a year. So what does that mean for me, for my business? I only need to have 3, 4, 5 of those investors that are actively buying to do a business where I'm doing 20, 25, 30, 40 plus deals a year. And I still serve my retail community.
Yeah, super good. Quick reminder, Cole, I want you to go, but quick reminder for anybody who's tuning in live, you can post a question, comment, and supposedly I'll see it. So feel free to ask questions of Ben as well, and we'll happily pop those up too. So go ahead, Cole. What you got, buddy?
Yeah, I think what you said in the very beginning, Ben, is really important. That you said that every real estate agent needs to work with at least one investor, and I totally agree with that. If only for this reason, is you can see the world through the investor lens as opposed to the buyer's agent lens or the listing agent lens. Just like we as agents need to have in our tool belt, hey, what does it look like for a first-time home buyer? What does it look like for a first-time home seller? What does it look like for a retiree? And we need to see their world through their lens. And if you've never worked alongside an investor before, and you might have an investment property coming up, how do you know how to see the world if you've never seen the world through their eyes before? How do they, are they Kiyosaki? Are they Dave Ramsey? Are they Ryan Serhant? Whoever it might be, are they going to burr it? Do you even know what that looks like and how it actually plays out? And so I think the more, even if it's just having another tool in your tool belt to see the world through their lens, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, and I'm going to try, oh, look at that. Hey, can you guys see that? Maybe they can see that now. You guys see that banner? Check the house, nice and big. Maybe a little too. I don't know. Anyways, we'll leave that up in case people are like, "What are you guys talking about?" So, here's a thought too, because some of you're talking about, Ben. I mean, truthfully, and I've been in for 13 years. I've kind of stayed away from investors. Like, they need to see a lot of homes. There's a lot of stuff they need to do. Like, I don't know. It just feels like too much work, and they're buying low level properties. They're buying and holding anyways. So, like, I'm not really interested in that. I am going to go serve that residential client, right? But what I've seen even in my market is there's an agent in our market, for example, and I know he helps them buy, or they buy on the courthouse steps, but then he lists everything for 1%. But he does like 150 of those a year. So he's got a really good business. But if anything, it makes him look like to his own clients this crazy productive agent, right? He's always got this property. He's always got this marketing material. He's always doing these things, even if he's not making a ton off of the sale. Like, he's got this incredible marketing machine because this guy who in our market, believe it or not, his last name is Fortune. He's the guy buying like 300 homes a year. So of course, maybe he changed his name to be Fortune. But that's an advantage, right, to an agent, even just to have that much production. So okay. An agent, Ben, is like, that's a good idea. Sounds cool. How do I go find them, right? And I want you to first talk to the agent that's like, they're in their first 2 years. They're just trying to get traction on 10 to 15 deals and maybe don't have the confidence to go talk to a seasoned investor. What do they do?
Yeah. So the good news is it's very easy and simple for real estate agents to go find investors. Okay. So they're in every market, they're buying all the time. And kind of one of the fastest ways that we go and help real estate agents find those investors is through what I kind of know and I speak to. And one of the gifts I believe God has given me is through a lens of strategic connection. So real estate, as you guys know, been in the business for a long time. It's a relationship driven business. So what I know, it's who, not how. So there's a who in my market, in your market, in every market that has access to all of the top real estate investors. Okay. Yes, you can go boots on the ground. You can go to real estate investment networking events that I highly encourage you to go to. You can go and find and be in the rooms with people that are interested in real estate investing. Then you've got to sift and sort and get to them. But this is the hack that I share, is that if you want to find the best real estate investors in your market, go find the most successful investor lenders, which means hard money lending loan officers, okay, and talk with them about how you can help serve their top clients, okay? Because the reality of what we do as an investor agent, or you as an agent that is looking to get your arms around working with an investor, guess how many times a hard money lending loan officer gets paid on a deal? They only get paid once. They get paid when they fund it. They don't get paid finding the deal for their client. So we fill this gap where we provide an incredible amount of value to, my friends and partners that are hard money lending loan officers, because they don't want to go find, sift, sort, identify the deals for their clients. That's what we can do as an investor agent, partnering and becoming a dedicated investor agent with their client. And in doing that, it's a win-win-win situation, because the investor gets served, you get deals, and that loan officer gets to turn their money in their transaction. They get to lend the money. And so it's this really great gap that we get to step into to say, hey, look, here's my expertise. Here's what I can do. Source deals on and off market. I can serve your investor client, and then you can lend the money. And it works all the time, and it helps allow me get access to the best people that already are experienced. Okay. Because people that are qualified, if they're already working with a hard money lender, as you know, from the traditional real estate game, like the first thing we do is make sure they're qualified so they can buy the house. So we're going straight to the lender. They're already qualified. They most likely have already bought properties before, and they've done it. So I don't need to do any lift on education or get them connected with this, that, or the other. These guys are ready to run. And that's the fastest, quickest, most efficient way to quickly connect with investors in your business.
How can you tell a good investor to a bad one to a great one? Are there like identifiers that you're picking out throughout these conversations?
Oh man, that's an awesome question. I know and believe that's where we've got to use our gift of discernment, wisdom, experience. Okay. The real estate is open to everyone, especially on the investing side. Like when we become a real estate agent, we've got to go through the process for getting qualified and the education and getting licensed in our respective states. Real estate investors, there's no barrier to entry. So it's open to everyone. So we've got to use our God-given wisdom and discernment to be like, I see this guy's had a lot of success. I see this guy has done hundreds of deals. Is that somebody I'm going to choose to work with? There's a number of ways you can validate, just like Garrett was saying, the guy that's buying a bunch of properties on the auction steps, like first Tuesday of the month or whatever. That, even though he's doing that much, that may not be a guy I'm aligned with and want to work with. And so that's where it really comes down to me or to you as the agent to really be like, is this a guy that I know, like, and trust? Because the unique thing we get to do being on the investor agent side is we get to choose who we do business with. Because as an investor agent, or if you're going to carve yourself out to work with an investor, there are not many people doing that, right? Like there's just not somebody that knows and understands real estate investing, knows how to talk, how to identify, to source, secure these deals. So they have as much of an opportunity to work with me as I do with them. And the reality is, for all of us, that's why it's very hard to scale your business working with buyers, because it's so time intensive. Okay. Like I can only work with a handful of buyers, and I really only want to work, if I'm going to scale on the buying side, I really just want to work with investor buyers, because it removes me from the ability, just from the transactional nature of working with a homeowner buyer versus an investor buyer. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Garrett, did you see that we got a comment in?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. I think that's Talisha says, caution to one that brags a lot. So, and that's really for anyone. You can identify someone's character if they talk only about themselves for an hour.
Oops. As I accidentally put myself on screen only. I'm still figuring this out. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry about the people that brag. What are we thinking? Yeah, no, I like it, but it's such an interesting way. I'm 100% referral. Like when I do 50 deals, it's, 35 different families, right, every year. And that's cool. Like that's my personality. I like that. But I also could see how, there's agents that have come to me that I'm coaching. They're like, hey, I'm introverted. How do I do this business well, right? Like, do I have to be extroverted? Well, number one, you don't. You can still generate tons of referrals. There's lots of introverted people. But even in the context of, like, I like the idea of saying, well, maybe you're not the person like Cole's going to go meet everybody and be friends with everybody. So, like, what if you go find these 5 people that you just work with over and over and over again, right? Like you really invest in them. You have really good one-on-one relationship with them. You know what they're looking for. You know how it works, and you guys just have a great working relationship. Like that's a really smart way to say you could go that direction, right? I mean, I've heard a lot of times when my team was bigger, a lot of the advice that I would give Ben was, hey, go find an investor, give them to your young agent, and just let them run around all day. Right. Like, oh, okay. I guess that's what investors are. I mean, like in my head, that's what it was. The investor needs to see 100 homes. They'll buy one of them. And so like, I don't have time to run around with them all day. Is that true? Right. Like, is that the actual experience? Is that just like, no, Garrett, because you didn't know how to do it or what to do? Like, what is the actual structure? Is it that you're looking for the investor who's going to flip it? Or is it okay if they want to buy and hold? Or, what is that? Like, give me an idea of how we find the right type of person, and then what the expectation should be for an agent who finds that investor.
Yeah. So the good news is, especially where we are today with AI, access to technology, a lot of the work that I do that, investor agents are doing, a lot of it's done on the desktop. So it's computer work. So yes, 10 years ago when I was wholesaling, running a part of an operation, like that involved a lot of we were going around, obviously meeting people in person. The reality is with visibility that we've got access to data, because there's markets on and off market. On market, we've got all the great tools through the MLS, set up searches, notifications, sift and sort. There's even layers of AI that are going on top of the MLS to identify and push out investment deals that'll qualify like a before picture and an after picture. And they'll see that there's a gap. And then we can identify heat maps and things like that for investors. So there's things that are popping up like that on the on-market side. The off-market side is definitely where the challenge comes into play. But there are platforms that are out there like InvestorLift that are kind of aggregation sites for off-market deals because the best deals typically are the off-market deals. So that's where myself here in Houston, I've got to go out and know and understand who the top wholesalers, real estate investment companies are, use and leverage InvestorLift. And most importantly, it's building relationships with these people and investors that are specifically going out doing marketing to homeowners and wholesaling. Those are the people that you really want to get to know in your market. So the long of it is it's collapsed a lot from a time thing. Like I'm not driving around looking at 10 properties today. When I'm going out, we're looking at 5 and we'll make offers on 2 or 3. So we're able to get very focused based on the data, their buy box criteria, where they're looking for. And then it's a very sniper targeted approach. Like if we're going to go walk a property, it's to confirm our estimate on repairs, see what's going on with the roof, foundation, the mechanicals, and then we're getting an offer in. It's not like this, is this my forever home? Do I feel it? Is this something that whatever? Like investors are very clear. They want to buy in this area. They know their criteria. And if it checks and we can get the property at the right price, we'll make the offer and go. So it's collapsed and it's become more efficient and effective with access to data and AI.
Ben, can we talk a little bit about that? How you present an offer through this investment lens, because to many agents out there who they've never worked with an investor, but maybe they've received an offer from an investor and they just kind of feel a little bit hurt or emotionally driven. Tell me the difference between an investment offer, how you structure it, how you present it, especially if it's less than or not even close to that list price.
Yeah, so this is one of the challenges and one of the opportunities that we've got as real estate agents is to get a better understanding of real estate investing and what is a real offer and what is not. And so, one, the price is really what dictates everything. So if I've got an investor, we're making an offer on a property. Yes, it may be below the listing price. Some may not. Some are close. Like if we're I'm in Houston, we're a very affordable market. Like I've got investors that are buying, at list price, asking price, $200,000, and they're just leveraging the window and framework that we've got with an on-market deal. And that happens. Otherwise, some of the ones that are deeper, we always are able to justify it, or I always make sure myself, our team, we're not just firing over an offer, a lowball offer. I always want to provide some information and justification so that agent can better serve their clients in terms of why they're getting this offer. Hey, look, this offer is coming in 30, 40 below because The AC is 15 years. The roof is going to have to be repaired. There's all this cosmetic work because the house down the street that sold for 500, your home trying to sell it at 400, we've got to be able to close that gap. And there's $50,000 that go into buying this property. And it's not just the repair value, it's the holding costs, it's the closing costs, like it's the profit for the investor. So there's additional information that I provide, but sometimes it comes across as it's like hard and sharp, but I try to provide more information and context around that offer.
It even feels like a season where as homes sit longer, right, as more homes are available, that this is a good season for an investor, I would think, especially coming with cash high interest rates. I mean, I don't know that to be true, but it feels like it probably is. And so I'd love for you to speak to that. And then when they, I don't know that it's gone into effect yet, but the law where like these big institutional investors can't buy anymore past, what was it, 350 or whatever, 350 homes. I don't know the exact number. How is that affected? So like, first, is this a good season for investors anyway? So they're going to get busy. And so we should be paying attention. And then, talk about that law. How is it impacted?
Yeah. So it's always a good season for investors. So, up or down, left or right, whatever's happening in the world, investors are always buying. Okay. And so now I believe we're entering into a very aggressive, kind of investor season, not just because of the time of the year that we're rolling into, like we're departing the quote unquote busy summer. Down in Houston, it was, flat, if anything. But investors are actively buying. We've got an investor agent on my team. He's also a hard money lender. He's one of the loan officers that I mentioned earlier. In the last 90 days, just him, a one-man operation, has done 30 hard money loans in the last 90 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's just one guy. Okay. So the investor market is very active. It will always be active. And they are always buying. Always. Because the one thing I know,
real investors, right? I mean, you have the quote unquote investor. You mean like the people that are actual investors, like this is what they do. Those are the people, not these random one-offs, right? Yeah. That's who we're talking about. Yeah.
And and I don't know if now's the right time to get into it, but one of the things I've been speaking to a lot more, because we're all getting text messages, emails, phone calls from investors that are looking for properties. They're looking for deals. They're looking for our distressed homes. They're looking for the referrals. I just want to let everybody know those aren't investors that we work with. They are marketing to us as their method of marketing for their real estate investment business. Okay. If you know that strategy, it's called agent outreach. Okay. So agent outreach is a marketing strategy that real estate investors use to market for deals from real estate agents. Okay. And it is a very effective marketing strategy because it is cheap and we are cheap. And real estate agents don't understand the opportunity that we have to serve our clients that are in greatest need and need our service the most. Because, and I'll share this, one of my good buddies down here in Houston, he was a small operation. He was doing cold calling, text message, emails, like all direct homeowner outreach. As soon as he flipped over to agent outreach, all he does is send out one mass email a month, emails that we're all getting, that you guys are getting, that's just saying, hey, look, I'll pay you double commission. We'll buy fast. We can handle any of these situations. He's built out his business from that one email weekly to do 4, 5, 6 deals a month, that he was spending literally like $10,000 a month on marketing. And he was able to swap that out for $100 a month constant contact mass emailing list, because guess what? All of our information is public. They can get all of our emails. That's why we're getting all of that communication. So the value in it for him is that he's reaching out to agents. He thinks it's a steal because he's essentially, his cost per deal is whatever value we put on our relationship with that homeowner we work with. Because guess what, guys? Some agents are freely giving the leads. They're just saying, I don't even want to touch this so-and-so that I know that is a hoarder house. So their home just went through they went through this situation. like they just give that with it without even getting a referral fee, much less getting paid 3% or 6% or whatever, which is $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. But guess what my buddy's doing? He's going, meeting the homeowner, serving the homeowner, putting the property under contract, and then he's wholesaling that for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 because he's got the solution for the homeowner. But the reality is the responsibility on myself as a real estate agent. We will have people that come into our business that I want to be able to serve. And they're the ones in most need. They're going through job loss, financial pain. They're going through some, tough situations. And real estate agents have the opportunity to position themselves as the trusted person to go to, because we can help them do that. You can help those people, those homeowners that are in most need. And, without having to give them or, refer them off to an investor, which they'll do a good job. I know because I've done that, but there's an opportunity for us as real estate agents to, really serve those people that are in the most need. So that agent outreach thing is something that a lot of people don't understand what that communication is coming towards us, because we just think it's noise. In some ways it is, but with the investor agent game plan, there's also an opportunity to reverse prospect to those companies that are reaching out. And that's the other piece that we kind of get into and share. So
I love that. We got a question in from Shaylee. Shaylee, thanks for being here. What are some of the mistakes you made early on trying to serve the investor?
I think the first mistake is what we talked about earlier, working or trying to work with somebody that you're not in alignment with, especially, our relationship with Christ, everything that I do, that's first and foremost. And I think, and even now, like we even had a company that's like, hey, we really want to work with you. And I've never got clarity on like moving forward and working with them, even though they've got a bunch of deals that we can help. But it's being aligned with what God is putting on my heart in terms of like if I should do this or not, because ultimately it's our reputation and the reputation of Christ that goes before me that I represent inside my business. And I don't want to get that necessarily tarnished by working with the wrong person. So I think the first mistake is, getting aligned with like a potential wrong person. The other thing too is giving up on the investor too soon. Because as real estate agents from the investor community, real estate investors don't hold real estate agents in very high regard. They think we're flaky. They think we're stupid. They think we don't know what we're doing. They think all we do is like run to TikTok and Instagram, and we only sell pretty houses. Okay. So
they're talking about you, Cole, by the way.
Yeah.
That actually described your business plan. Yeah.
That you helped me create.
Yeah.
Ben nailed it. Yeah. Sorry.
No, but no, that's just, so the perception of the investor, because there's hundreds of thousands of us real estate agents that are out there.
You're right.
If you can find and partner with the right real estate investor, you can absolutely transform your business. And, for me, the reason why I work with investors is because I want to create financial freedom. And I know real estate investing is the closest, most accessible way for you, me, and anyone else in this world to build and create wealth is through real estate. And that's the opportunity that I'm ultimately in pursuit of. And if I can help people that are looking to create wealth in real estate, I know the same will happen for me.
Yeah.
It's like that Zig Ziglar quote.
Ben, I kind of want to lean into this question because I actually wrote a very similar question down to what Shaylee wrote. Can you give us an example of what a poor vision, what a bad vision looks like that you had to decide, hey, I don't feel like it's a good working relationship with this person, with this investor, or just they shared the vision that they had and you were like, hey, I don't think that's the same vision as the gospel or the same vision of my life, my business, my family?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. So like I said, real estate's a relationship driven business. So I think a lot of it, as fast as investors can move, we also have to be able to slow things down sometimes, just to understand and pull back and say, what is really happening here and who am I working with? So a lot of that, because it is real estate, things are visible to us. We can see what they've done. Typically when we go through and qualify, it's like, I want to see the work that they've done. Like if they're an investor, if they flip, like, hey, show me some of the projects that you've done. Because real estate is a very visible business. Like we can go see what we've done, the homes that we've sold, the people that we've helped. It's the same thing on the investment side, but one, it's seeing the quality of work that they do, because there are a lot of people out there, unfortunately, in the investment world. They'll do not great job. They won't do a great job. And so there was one investor in particular. She was very active, did a lot of deals, except the quality of her work that was coming through in the product, like homes that I was representing to sell, I did not want to represent them not because it wasn't the type of property that I was like targeting. It was about the quality of the work that was done. And so I let her go. And just like this other group that we're talking to right now, we've got some third-party feedback through social media, through feedback and, whispers from other people that like, we don't know if they're necessarily, even doing things right, wrong, legal, illegal. Like there seems to be a very big gray area. So I think there's, going through, seeing the work that they've done, getting feedback, and then ultimately it's just praying on it, trusting God, getting that clarity and wisdom in terms of like, hey, is this somebody that I should invest my time into? One, nobody's perfect except Christ. And it's like, even if there's somebody that I work with, it may go great for a while and then it goes sideways. And then we just have to have the ability to say, hey, that was for the season, or I helped this person, or I was able to, whatever the good is that came through it. So
that's good, man. Yeah, I think in this, and I've got one final wrap-up question for you, but I think this is in all things, like what I hope our audience takes away is this is one other way for you to grow your business, right? What I hope they never hear is that every time Cole and I are having a conversation, or we're having a conversation with an amazing guest like Ben, that they think, I need to do that too. I need to go find some investors. I need to be on social media. I need to go work by referral, whatever the scenario is. Like, what we're trying to do is expose you to people who love the Lord and are doing different aspects of the business at a high level. And I think the reality is, like, you could totally do this at a high level. The question becomes, obviously, does the Lord want you to, but the question becomes, will you put in the work to become excellent at it? Like, will you learn what you need to learn? Will you find somebody like Ben and go learn how to do it? If you learn how to do it well, and you execute it at a high level, guess what? It's going to work. But if you say, I'm going to continue to do whatever, social media and open houses and cold calling and door knocking, guess I got to go find some investors now. None of that's going to work. Correct. Right? So this is like exposure to, there's wisdom in this. If you feel like you're not getting traction, but this makes sense to you, seek out Ben, right? Say, how do I learn more? We're going to make sure you learn, or you all know how to do that. But just as a reminder, don't do it all. Right? Agents are so caught up in like, I did 10 things when I could have done 1 or 2, and it actually would have gone better for me. Right. So, but love what you're talking about, Ben. I mean, it's such a good reminder of like, investors are such a good opportunity out there. So let me ask you this, and then I want you to tell us how they can connect with you and learn more. But if every listener only did one thing after this episode to build better relationships with investors, what would you tell them to do?
Oh, man, that's a great question. To get started, you've got to go find them. So real estate investors are available. You do have to go pursue them. You have to go find them and get into relationship with them. So the thing I always come back to, everything ends at this, point in real estate. It's all about relationships, and it's who you get to work with, who you get to serve. So it is worth the time, energy, and effort to go find that person, pursue and seek. If there's an investor in your market that's active, that you feel aligned with, that they're on social media, they're speaking about their relationship with Christ, you feel like you see what they're doing. One of the real quick hacks that, I encourage, and it's just kind of a networking connection thing, is like, don't go ask an investor, somebody in your market, hey, could I pick your brain? I'm thinking about working with investors or whatever. Always go try to meet them in the flow of their day. Hey, I see that you are at this great project. I've got a property in that neighborhood I'm selling. When are you going to be at that project next? Or if you're tracking, and like in Houston, we're in a very active, like networking, event-driven market. Go to the events that they're attending. Go to the events that they're speaking at. Go to the events that they're hosting. like go to where they are, meet them in the course of their day. Don't try to subtract time out of their day. Investors are very busy, especially the most active ones. But there is incredible value we can bring to real estate investors by building a relationship with them. So that's where it all starts. It's like, go seek the investors that are out in your community and build relationships with them. See how you can support and serve them, how you can give to them what they're looking for. And then, go from there.
Love that, dude. Great advice, man. Dude, if they want to connect with you, learn more from you, buddy, where should they go?
Yeah, so my socials are the best spot to go. So Benjamin Deal on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. If you're interested about how we package everything that we do, you can go to the investoragentwolfpack.com. That's got a lot of information about our team, about our community. The Investor Agent Game Plan is the strategy that we use to help agents build their business working with investors, to do more deals, working with less people, and get all your listing leads from real estate investors. So go to my socials, Benjamin Deal, Ben Deal, and then go to investoragentwolfpack.com.
Super good, buddy. I love that your last name is Deal. I don't know why I just put that together. Like, I don't know if that really was how he was born, Cole, but maybe we should change our last names.
Hey, there's the wrong way, and then there's the order way. There's a deal, and then there's a dang Ben good deal.
Oh yeah,
dude. And then what you got for Maroon?
Yeah, better maroon than red.
Yeah, don't let your listing get marooned. Call Garrett Maroon. There you go. That's it. Order way. There's a wrong way. There's I don't remember what it is. Whatever your thing is. Ben Deal, such a pleasure to have you with us, buddy. Man, I love what you're sharing, and I think it's really helpful, especially for agents right now that are struggling, which a lot of them are, and thinking like, what do I need to do? Maybe there's a pivot. I'm in a season of just trying to pay attention to the Lord. How are you intentionally redirecting me? Like, what is the Lord trying to do? Where is he trying to point us? And maybe this is one of the ways. So I would encourage you all, follow Ben on social, check out his website. It'll all be in the show notes. If you're listening to this later, Talisha says, grant me a deal. I'm sure you can make that happen, Talisha. Reach out to him. He'll figure that out. But Ben, man, such a pleasure to have you on. Faithful Agents, we love you. We will be live again next week and on the pod again next week. Thanks for tuning in. As always, we love you guys. We'll see you next week.